Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Well, we're in the midst of a never-ending war on terror, and it doesn't seem to matter who's going to be elected in 2016. They are pushing for even more war. And now a Democrat has come out calling for a little small surtax on the American people to pay for the war against the Islamic State. This is Senator Chris Coons. He's a Democrat from Delaware. He went on the Morning Joe show to call for just a small surtax to pay for this war. Never mind that it's been a totally ineffective air campaign that thus far has cost more than $5 billion. So Coons says that in addition to authorizing Obama's unconstitutional authorization for use of military force, Congress must levy a new tax on Americans to pay for military action against the Islamic State. Now, the U.S. has spent more than $5 billion on the war against Islamic State since just August 2014. The daily tab for fighting ISIS has climbed more than 20% between May and October of this year. We're paying nearly $1 million a day, according to the Pentagon's latest public figures. And the cost, of course, is expected to rise considerably now that Obama and his administration has said that they're going to even step up this campaign to wipe out the group. And like I said, this has been largely ineffective. ISIS has continued to grow. Current intelligence estimates are putting them 20 to 30,000 fighters. And they only just began doing these air campaigns against the oil fields and being able to report that they've taken out the ISIS leader who was responsible for the Paris terror attacks. So it's been wholly ineffective. And now they're saying they need even more money. Well, I've got an idea of how you can pay for this war against the Islamic State. Stop funding them. Stop training them. Stop dropping weapons into their territory. Stop training moderate rebels who defect to ISIS. I mean, it's a total joke, and I'm sick and tired of my tax dollars going to this never-ending war on terror that they are basically promoting and funding here. But here's another idea of how to pay for this war against the Islamic State. Stop spending federal tax dollars on mosques with links to terrorist organizations. Now, this is the Islamic Center of Greater Kansas City. They've received $2.7 million from the Department of Agriculture since 2010. This is a mosque linked to the Muslim Brotherhood. Now, this money largely went to the mosque's Crescent Clinic. It provides services through their WIC program, and their most recent payout was about $300,000 handed out October 1st. Now, property records show that this mosque is owned by the North American Islamic Trust, which acts as a financial holding company for Islamic organizations. It offers Sharia-compliant financial products to Muslim investors. It operates Islamic schools, and it owns more than 300 other mosques throughout the U.S. Now, Joe Biggs is going to be reporting on some other sketchy schools here in the U.S. with links to terrorism that are, of course, being given federal funds coming up later this week. But now here's a report from John Bown breaking down this small surtax to pay for the war on terror.
The year-end disapproval polls of Congress are rolling out. According to the latest Gallup poll, 82% disapprove of the way Congress is handling its job. Real Clear Politics congressional job approval is at 75.8% disapproval. Mainstream media polls even have to accept the boiling anger running its course through America, as the CNN ORC poll racks up to 75% disapproval, and CBS New York Times is at 74%. The holiday season isn't even over yet, and fresh off of the heels of the treasonous Paul Ryan-led omnibus funding of the Defense Department to the tune of at least $2 billion while ignoring an enemy invasion of the United States, meanwhile dropping a pile of cash on the sanctuary cities operations being flooded with non-vetted refugees, a ticking time bomb waiting to happen, all paid for by your tax dollars. Is it any surprise that the career corporate politicians that have occupied the nation's capital would start floating their latest bonehead idea from their arrogant bubble as if anybody in this country actually accepts it?
It seems to me that we'll have to borrow additional money from China in order to run this war. So let's have a war tax.
Now, more idiotic rhetoric from the left as Democratic Senator Chris Coons, who in addition to authorizing Obama's unconstitutional authorization for use of military force, minus the ground troops, says the Congress from hell should now levy a new tax on Americans to pay for military action against the Islamic State.
How are we going to pay for it? All the previous wars, as you referenced, before Iraq and Afghanistan, had a dedicated war surtax. And I think that's one way we could fairly pay for it, with a small surtax that exempted active duty military families and veterans. But there's other ways we could pay for it. We just can't keep going without even discussing it.
That's right. The little boys and their brand new shiny toys over at the Pentagon need more of your tax dollars to fund another one of their blatant fake wars with an enemy they created and support. Maybe we should send our war tax dollars to Putin, as he did more damage to ISIS in 3 days than the United States did in 1 year. Vocative reports the daily tab for fighting ISIS had already climbed more than 20% between May 21st and October 15th of this year, from 9.1 million a day to nearly 11 million per day. According to the Pentagon's latest public figures, more than half of these costs came in the form of airstrikes, which the U.S. has employed since August of 2014 to pound Islamic State targets. Munitions, logistics, and operational support accounted for the remaining costs, according to the Pentagon. Despite spending billions, the air campaign has failed to weaken the Islamic State, according to intelligence officials. A defense official told the Associated Press, "We've seen no meaningful degradation in their numbers." He cited intelligence estimates that put the Islamic State's total strength at somewhere between 20,000 and 30,000, virtually the same number as last August when the airstrikes began. Face it, you sell out ideologue suits bumbling around the district of criminals. The poll numbers and an average of black-budgeted $1.6 trillion in annual never-ending war costs don't lie. The days of wagging the dog for the assumed idiotic taxpayers you've robbed year in, year out is coming to a screeching halt. John Bound for Infowars.com.
Knockout is back. If you want a product that has 10 known ingredients that naturally get your body to relax, your brain to relax, so you get deep, restful sleep, Knockout's it. Infowarslife.com. L-theanine, hops flower extract, lemon balm extract, valerian root extract, chamomile flower extract, L-tryptophan extract, melatonin, and more. All organic, all the natural sources. It's the same price as leading brands of melatonin that are 3 milligrams apiece. It has 3 milligrams, the standard recommended dose for an adult. It's got the GABA, so it would probably cost $50 to take all this as separate pills. It's $19.95. You take 1 or 2 of these, and it just is really clean, restful sleep is what the reviews are. It's what I've experienced. And it just synergistically puts everything in there. Infowarslife.com. That's Infowarslife.com. Or call 888-253-3139.